Hello, everybody. My name is Byron Perry, and I'm the founder and CEO of Coconuts Media. We're an online publisher reaching an audience of millions across Southeast Asia and Hong Kong. And we also produce documentary videos, which we release on YouTube, Facebook, and have also licensed and produced for Netflix, iFlix, Discovery, MTV, and MediaCorp. Today, we're here to talk about video marketing. And I'm going to let my panelists introduce themselves. So take it away, Joanna.
Hi, everyone. I'm Joanna. I'm the VP of Marketing for 90 Seconds. I'm really excited to be here today. I've been in the tech industry for quite some time now, starting out at Spotify, really growing the business out here for APAC, and being really excited about disrupting that audio industry and taking that knowledge now to disrupt the video industry at 90 Seconds. So at 90 Seconds, what we do is we create original video content for brands, anywhere from corporate comms all the way down to TV commercials and ads. And we're really excited to bring and make that process a lot easier for video creation on our platform. And I'll tell you guys a little bit more as the panel goes along in our perspective on video marketing.
Thank you.
Cool. Hi, everyone. My name is Yuan. I'm from Our Grandfather Story. So I think it's a really cool name, right? But I'm not a grandfather. But anyway, so we are a digital video publisher. So we do documentaries about Singapore and in the future about Southeast Asia. So right now we reach an audience of about 3 million every month. So we are on all social media platforms. You can check us out. Go to Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. You'll be able to enjoy like the documentaries that we make. Thank you.
Hi guys. My name is Jayden. I work in social media. Currently working in GOODSTUPH, and I also am just newly founded my company called Headquarters. It is it's like a creative studio. Our aim is to like a gap between a production house and a creative agency. So that's the kind of work that I'm looking forward to do in the future. And yeah, that's what I create content. Yeah.
Thank you, Jayden. So I actually want to start by asking Yuan, with our grandfather story, there's so many different platforms these days where video is important. YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, now TikTok. What is the most important platform for our grandfather story?
Okay, I guess that's really interesting. So for us, we started off on Facebook about 2 years back. And right now, that's still like our largest platform with the largest group of audience that we have. So I would say that's definitely one of our key areas. So, but beyond that, we're also like growing our YouTube and Instagram audience. So for us, I would say these 3 platforms is the largest for us. So why are they the main focus for us? Mainly because like for our target audience, they range between 25 to 34. So that is the group of audience that we want to talk to. And on these platforms, they work really well. So that's...
Sure. Are you guys thinking about launching a TikTok channel or no? Don't worry about that yet.
I would say not really. So I think for us, because the kind of content that we create, we tell stories, right? And they are all mainly documentary stories. I think as of now, it doesn't seem to work really well, like on TikTok. So it's not a fit for us. I would say like, it might be a fit for other brands. But I don't think like that's the platform for us right now.
Sure. And in terms of working with brands, how do you guys work with brands and what platforms are they interested on? Do they care about all 3 or are they often like, oh, we only care about Facebook views? Or do they really want the views distributed? And can you tell us just a bit more about when you work with brands?
Okay, so I guess when we work with brands, different brands have different objectives and different group of audience that they want to reach out to. So for example, on Facebook, we get the slightly older audience. And on Instagram, we get the slightly younger audience, so people like below 18. So different brands look for different things. So and on YouTube, we get a slightly more regional audience. We have people coming in from Malaysia, from Indonesia, from the US. So it depends on what they want. But I would say most of them are actually looking to target people on Facebook.
Sure. So Facebook most important.
Yes.
Got it. And Joanna, for you, with the clients that you work with at 90 Seconds, Are you generally creating videos for them for social media platforms and YouTube, or is it more for their corporate use? What types of platforms are the brands that you work with wanting their videos to be released on?
Yeah, it's a full range depending on the industry. Like I said, we go anywhere from corporate comms all the way to the social media ads. We know that advertising and video advertising is very important to our clients, so that's why we are Facebook and Instagram marketing partners now. We're also building out a partnership with YouTube. The basis is that everyone's making video. I think we all agree. It's why you're here watching this panel. But how are you creating that video? And are you understanding the metrics behind the video? Is it actually working for your audience? If it's not, how are you taking that information and reshooting or changing the voiceover? How are you taking that information? And that's what we're trying to do with the integrations that we have with 90 Seconds and some of our distribution partners, so that our clients can get that access to that information so they can come and trigger back to us, hey, actually we need a reshoot for this section. People are dropping off right now. So these are the type of beta things that we're doing so that we can take the analytics to really empower in creating more video.
So do your 90 Seconds analytics actually integrate with those platforms and they can see where people are dropping off, for example, like on YouTube?
Yes, correct. So that's what we're
cool.
beta testing. So we're already the marketing partners officially, and we're beta testing with some of our clients now on how that technology works. So I think that's what we're really excited about at 90 Seconds when we say disrupting the video industry, is because we are creating original video content, but on top of that, we have a platform, a really automated workflow. You manage all of your projects across scale, across 900 cities. So you can have simultaneous shoots that we did, for instance, with Facebook product launch. We shot in London, Sao Paulo, San Francisco, all on the same day as big brands. Product launch has to happen at the same time. Being able to do all of that through one platform instead of multiple emails and such. But we're really excited about these types of integrations because that's what marketers want and are looking for.
So if a brand asks you to reshoot because people are dropping off, I hope you're going to charge them for that, right?
Of course, at a reasonable rate, I'm sure.
Sure. So Jayden, for those that don't know, Jayden is a very accomplished photographer and a very wonderful photographer.
Thank you.
What's your Instagram handle?
Jayden Nation.
Jayden Nation. So check him out on Instagram and you'll see what I'm talking about. How does photography inform the videos that you create? It seems like photography is what you've done more of, and you're now breaking into video. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
Yeah, interesting you say that, because only this year I started to do more videos, and how I treat a video is usually like I need every frame of the video to be like a painting, or to be something that can be screenshot and share along, to your friends or like on social media. So
you're very much like a DOP.
Something.
Would
like
you
that.
say that?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, go ahead.
So I want every frame to be very beautiful. So then, because I myself, I share things online all the time, and if it's really beautiful, that the thumbnail is really good, then I'll just share it and it looks good. So that's where I go into video. And even when making music videos, like recently we did a music video for Inch Chua, a local singer, and that one charted at #1 on Apple Music when it went out. So
congrats.
Thank you. So and every frame of the video was really very crafted, and to make sure that we keep the viewers' eyeballs on the video all the time. Yeah.
Sure. And what are some of the tools you use to create such beautiful videos? Can you tell us a bit about your equipment or your technique?
Actually, everything. Like I keep experimenting. So sometimes I use like old tech. Like there was once recently I did another music video shoot. It's not out yet, but we shoot like a video of a TV connected to a video cam shooting something else. So the kind of treatment that goes into the camera, it's something that looks different if you create in camera and in digital in post. And sometimes I work with 3D artists as well. So it's really, I'm trying to create a very wide range of experimenting kind of graphics and visuals to catch the eyeballs of the online audience, because everything is in your face all the time. So I'm trying to be ahead of the time if
Sure.
it's possible. Yeah.
So what is ahead of the time? What video techniques or styles of video do you feel like really differentiates from what everybody's doing these days?
Now I'm getting a lot of clients who say, can you make this very organic, like not very polished? Handphone is enough. Then I feel very a bit like you have to use handphone to shoot now. So I think the trick is to right now like making it look like very effortless and very organic. And it's like how the makeup artists make the no makeup look is actually the hardest to do. Yeah, that's I'm trying to do with
Making
Such a
it
good
look
reference.
effortless is the hardest.
Yeah.
Got it. So can you tell us about a brand you've worked with recently? Like, I think you do branded videos, not just like commissions, like a music video.
Yeah.
What's a brand you worked with video, and what was the video you produced?
Well, recently the biggest project we worked for is Netflix. We shot for the marketing visuals for 2 titles. And it's interesting because at first they wanted to do just stills. Then because now their screens are all like digital screens, so they can do video at the same time. And so throughout the shoot, we do both stills and motion. So, you know, like something like a cinematograph and some things like they want more effects to add on in post. Yeah, but so now the things that I do has to, basically all the stills that I do has to have a video component to it.
Sure. Yuan, can you tell us about a brand you've worked with recently and just a little bit about the campaign, how it went?
Okay, I guess one of the more, not so recent, but it was this year. So this year we worked with Red Mart for their freshness recognition campaign. So that was really cool. So because we tell stories, right? So we actually told the story of a hawker, a fish soup seller. Yeah, so they are one of the like top hawker stores in Singapore, right? And we actually like turned that, not just into a video campaign, but more than that. So it was an entire campaign, like with an offline segment where the hawker actually used like fishes from Red Mart to cook like their fish soup. Yeah, so that was just kind of like beyond like using just telling the story of the hawker and turning it into a whole huge campaign for Red Mart. Yeah, so I think that was one of the cooler campaigns that we've done this year.
Cool.
Yeah.
It sounds like the brand integration was not very difficult.
Yes.
Because sometimes that's one of the most hard things, right? Is to satisfy the brand, get their message across, and still retain your integrity and create something that your audience is going to like, right?
Yeah.
So did you feel that that succeeded?
Sorry?
Did you feel that that video succeeded?
Yes, I think that video succeeded. Yeah, and like the response was great. Everyone was like tagging each other. Let's go try the fish soup, and like people, like the queue was long. Yeah, so people were just like going for it. Yeah, so and I think we created quite a big buzz. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so like through that, using that video, so Red Mart also got the other publishers, to shout out about this whole campaign. Yeah, so I think as a whole it did really well. Yeah, so I think that was a really effective campaign. Yeah.
Cool. So you definitely drove sales of the fish soup, but what about Red Mart for the fish? Because, I know that brands are always saying, oh, well, that video was awesome, got a lot of views, but how much did it actually drive sales for me? Which what we would say is, well, this is top of funnel marketing, this is brand marketing, this is not conversion marketing.
Yep.
But still, they're right to, want ROI.
Yeah. So I'll say like that was a lot about creating trust, like between like Red Mart and the consumers, right? Yeah. So I think like I'll say it's more of a long tail effort, to try to create the trust between the consumer and Red Mart. Yeah. So it is not really for conversion. Yeah. So
exactly.
Yeah.
So you managed expectations from the beginning and said.
Yes, I have to say we have to manage expectations.
Great.
Yeah.
Joanna, can you tell us about a big brand campaign you worked on? I mean, I think that's mainly what you guys do, is constantly working with brands. But yeah, tell us about a big one.
Yeah, we've worked with so many different brands, anywhere from Amazon, HP, Moet Hennessy, you name it. We've worked with financial banks and such. The one thing that comes to mind at the moment is when we worked with Kellogg's. And I say this because, especially here in Singapore, a lot of people have regional roles, whether covering out Southeast Asia, whether covering out APAC. And what we do is, if you have a great brand idea, I think as we're all really connected globally, we're trying to understand how do we take a global message or a global creative and adapt it locally, right? I think that's a struggle that I've had in the past, and I think this is also something on marketers' minds. We work with Kellogg's. They had a great idea on promoting their cereal bar. It's basically about the afternoon slump, 4 p.m. Someone's in the office, so that's the setting. It's a YouTube ad. And they got her to, after eating the cereal bar, she's jumping and dancing and having a lot of fun. And this was actually shot in Korea. And I said, you know what, how do we localize this? We want to run something like this in Thailand. Of course, if you take the video and you put subtitles, it's not going to be quite engaging. But what we're able to do is, what we say transcending borders, we took that same concept, but we were able to reshoot that in Thailand with Thai dance, Thai music, with really similar concepts so that we were still aligned to global. And I think these are the things that really pay attention to depending on what the marketers are looking for. If that's what you have, a global message you're trying to apply locally, that's something also 90 seconds can do. If you want to do something completely new, that's also something we can provide as well.
Very cool. So has that been reshot anywhere else besides Thailand, out of curiosity? So Korea, Thailand, is it going to be done elsewhere?
For that specific campaign, no, but we also do because we have over 12,000 creators on our platform in 900 cities, 160 countries. It means we have coverage over Asia. We even have people in Africa. We have people over the US. And what we're able to do is do simultaneous shoots. So we work with brands covering about 20 locations at a time and being able to compile all of that for them.
Sure. So that's a lot of different creators across a lot of different markets. How do you keep the quality high? And do you ever have issues with brands? You're working with a lot of freelancers, basically. Sometimes they might not be reliable. Can you tell us about how you mitigate problems in that type of area?
Yeah, definitely. I think that's a great question. What we do is we actually have a technical activation and interview process. So it's almost like an HR recruitment. We actually have people on video cam. We go through situational questions. We have them show us their camera gear. So it's a really thorough vetting process before they are brought onto our platform. So we make sure that when they say that they've actually were a creative director on this project and showed us the reel, that they actually know exactly how to handle situations and that they actually did do the job. From there, we have lots of communication processes. You can be chatting with 90 seconds or with your producer or with your creator through our platform. So we're always there throughout that process, and we have producers 24/7 to manage the relationship.
Very cool. So you mentioned before we got up here about how you guys are integrating AI into your platform. This is a tech conference. AI is a big buzzword. I don't know how you could integrate AI into video production, but I'm sure it can be done. So can you tell us about that?
Yeah, don't we love good buzzwords as marketers?
Drop some buzzwords.
Yeah. Check. Yeah, of course. So for us, when we think about technology, right? Yes, we make original video content for brands. But what else do we do? How can we solve marketers' problems? So on the basic level, scale. That's what we do. Quality, we've got the creators bringing value, check. But in terms of AI, in terms of thinking about what the next issue that marketers are facing, think about all of the video content you create. What is the shelf life of that? A day? A week? What at most, maybe 3? What do you guys think? Like 3 months? That's long.
Yeah, maybe around that.
Yeah, 1 month. 1 month or so. What happens to that video afterwards? It lives on a Google Drive link. It kind of sits somewhere, and then you forget about it. You have a full day shoot, and you come up with a 30-second ad, which is fine, or 6-second ad from that. But what happens to all that full day shoot footage? Not quite sure. And so that's what we're trying to do. We're actually working on a video intelligence, and that means we're actually able to detect objects. So throughout our entire 30,000 video database, we have 5.1 million seconds that we've analyzed. A lot of data. So it's a lot of footage. And thank goodness for intelligence, because how else could a person do it? But we're able to actually now search for objects, so we can search for, something really funny that we found. You can search for sunsets, so obviously basic things. You can search for wine bottles, you can search for coffee, you can search for anything that you're looking for. So now you're going through your B-roll footage and things, and the idea is you can reuse what you've shot before and combine it with new shoots, so you can actually extend the shelf life of your video. So those are the things that we're really looking at. So not only do we make original video for you, but we're actually, because we're a technology company and tech platform, we're starting to explore these types of ways. And the one story that I love, anecdote, we can actually search for beards, and we found that there were more beards, 69% more beard detection in the wintertime in the US than summertime. And so it's just really incredible. It's these really random stats, but you can see how this can be used for brands to then reuse your footage and really be able to extend what you've done and all the videos you already create, because you're always constantly making video, right? Just to deal with the consumption with consumers.
Sure. Let's switch up now and talk about emotion. Our grandfather's story, I think that it would be correct to say that nostalgia is something that you guys are trying to evoke, or a feeling of longing for.
I would say it's one of
times.
them. Yeah, it's one of them. Yeah.
Yeah, so can you just talk a bit about what emotions are you trying to evoke with your videos, and how do you use emotion to achieve what you want to do, which I think is viewership and audience?
Okay, I guess like nostalgia is one of the emotions that we try to bring out. So I think that was at the very beginning of when we first started. So that is also why like our name is called Our Grandfather Story, right? Because we wanted to talk about like culture. We wanted to talk about heritage. So as time goes along, we realized that there are so many other stories that we wanted to tell. Yeah. So we've also looked into like love. We also looked into like more shocking like stories. So I think there's a whole range of emotions that we try to tap on. So it's not just nostalgia, but I have to say that nostalgia does work, but it doesn't work all the time. Yeah. So when we do like stories, like what we try to do, I think one thing that we always think about is we pack them to news values. Yeah, so if you actually look into journalism, so there's this thing called news values, right? So we usually do pack like our stories, compare them to news values. Are they newsworthy? Do they like are they big? Are they bizarre? Yeah.
Are they in the public interest?
Yeah, is there public interest of them?
Yeah. Very
so
cool.
That's what we do.
And can you tell us about the name, Our Grandfather Story? Did you come up with it, or who came up with it?
Yes, I came up with the name.
Cool.
So. Okay, so like for the name for the brand, right? So actually, when we first started, we started off as a school project back in NTU. Yeah, so we were speaking to another publisher, right, just to get a sense of what life was like for them. So they told us that they wanted to be the nosy neighbors, so of the audience. So if you are the audience, right, they will be your nosy neighbor. So we thought, so if they are your nosy neighbors, then like we want to tell like these kinds of stories about heritage, about culture, right? Then we'll probably be your grandfather. So and that's how the name came about. We tell grandfather stories. Yeah.
Cool. And how long ago did you start Our Grandfather Story?
Around 2 years back. I think we are coming to 3 years now. Yeah.
And do you feel that Singapore has even changed since then in those 2 short years? What are your thoughts on how Singapore is changing and how you want to tell that story of Singapore's history?
I would say like we have changed a lot. So like maybe around before, like maybe around 4 to 5 years back, we probably wouldn't be caring so much about these stories. Yeah, so I think we came in at a point where Singaporeans were trying to understand like what's our identity and like who are we. Yeah, so these stories have become so important. Yeah, so that's why when we started, the first video we put out, the second video we put out, things got viral. Yeah, so I think like things have changed a lot. We don't just see like where's the top 10 cafes now, articles like that. We see in-depth stories coming out. We see articles, talking about issues. Yeah, so I would say like the space and like everyone's like thinking has changed quite a bit like, over the past 2 years. Yeah.
Very cool. And so Jayden, for you, how much does emotion play a part in your work? When you work, are you very emotional and letting your emotions kind of drive the creativity? Or are you very cold and calculated and rational?
Actually, that's my weakness because I'm always very emotional with my work, especially when it comes to even commercial work. I'm sometimes too emotional. I have to hold back myself a little bit. But talking about emotion, I think one thing that I really want to put in all the work is the sense of awe. So like I do nostalgia too, but I feel that everybody's doing nostalgia, right? So how do we make it even more artistic, add a layer of storytelling or like something that makes people go like, oh wow, like, let me stare at that visual a bit longer, that sort of feeling that's what I want to portray for the visuals.
Sure. And so you say that you do get emotional and care a lot about your work. You must have butted heads with brands once or twice.
Sorry.
You must have butted heads with brands once or twice when they want you to do something that maybe you don't want to do.
Okay, there's this incident with this client that doesn't want to open the product to shoot, and then we have to kind of like fake it in post. Then I basically was the bad cop. I was like, okay, it's okay, it will be a bad photo, but we can try to make it. Then my colleague being the good cop, then in the end the client went out and came back, and then they say, okay, let's open the product and let's do it. Because for me, I feel like if you actually let me provide me with whatever you can in your capabilities to give me what you can, and I can make the best visual for you. And obviously to me, I think that the product for them is actually a fraction of the cost of what they're gonna put in the advertising campaign. So yeah, just Yeah.
So you held your ground, and the client
yeah.
was happy?
Yeah, in the end, they were very happy with the result of the shoot. So yeah, but I don't name who's the client. So
Sure, very cool. So in the last several years, online video has exploded. Obviously, it's why we're talking about it today. We've gone from YouTube being the main place and Netflix where people consume video to Facebook, Twitter, Instagram launching video in the last several years. Now there's iFlix, View, Hook, so many different OTTs. And all of that is great for producers like us, generally. What do you see in the near future for the video industry, especially online? Do you think we're at like a peak where there's just so many platforms and there's so many startups and there's such a demand for video but that it's not sustainable? Or do you think that we'll even be seeing more and more need for video production in the future? Yeah, Joanna, go ahead.
I personally, I love that there's so many options as a consumer. From my perspective, I think that there's going to be the consumption habits are increasing. You look at the stats, it's going to increase another 25% online video consumption, and I think there's a huge appetite from the audience to do that. So I think there's going to be an increase in video production. I do think that the storytelling is always important, but maybe the ways that we're storytelling, the effects that we're using will be different. The way we're cutting and the way we're engaging with the audience will be different. But certainly there will be more video upcoming.
Sure. Yuan?
Yeah, definitely. I think TV has been around for such a long time, right? So videos definitely will continue to grow. And I think there are so much more avenues that are continuing to grow that we have not tapped on yet. Yeah, so I think for example, one would be digital out-of-home media. Yeah, so increasingly we are seeing more screens. Even when I'm taking the Grab, I see a screen right in front of me. Yeah, so and all this in all these places, we can have so much videos around. Yeah, so sure. Definitely
How about you, Jayden?
They recently installed a TV in my elevator in my HDB. Forced to watch advertisements every time I take a lift. So yeah, so I think the platforms will always there'll be new stuff coming up, and for me my fear is when I get older, then I don't get to the younger generation. What are you using this platform for? So I guess what we can do is always when there's something new come out, just try to use the platform, no matter how stupid it looks or how ridiculous, like TikTok and all that kind of things. Sometimes you see content, I feel wow, this is not the content I want to consume, but I will try to still look at it and sign up and see what's the trend like, because as I feel as I age, and then the younger audience, I really can't, even the lingo is different now. So yeah, so I think it's just really tapping on to whatever that's coming out and just be very wise about it.
Sure. Yeah, I think that's my next question, is that with this deluge of video, the quality has gone down, and there's a lot of crappy video out there. So that's what I'm wondering, is whether people might tire of seeing these crappy videos everywhere all the time, and whether trends might move away from that towards who knows what, cinemagraphs, or back to photography, or back to actual words in terms of marketing. I don't know, but I guess my stance is that absolutely, I think in the near future, the demand for video is going to increase, but I think that we might be at this peak point where people are going to get a little bit oversaturated and seek something else. And I think you see that actually with, for example, talking about broadcast platforms or OTT platforms like Netflix versus HBO. I think HBO overall does better quality content, and Netflix does an insane amount of content, but actually the long tail of the Netflix originals, some of them are not very good. Right? So is there a market for those types of videos? I don't know. What do you guys think?
I think so.
Yeah, I
although
mean,
I used to work at
somebody's
HBO,
watching 'em,
so
yeah.
I'm definitely more leaning towards that side. But no, I think it's going to be important. Obviously, if they wouldn't be putting something out if people aren't watching it. So I do believe, especially with Netflix, it's quite clear what their data that they have on the consumption patterns. If people aren't consuming that specific topic or that original content, they'll know for future that isn't something people want to engage in.
Yeah.
So I think you do have to explore and try different things in order to understand what the audience likes and dislikes.
I think people will always be interested in that. Yeah, so for us, we started off doing like 3 to 4 minute short videos. So this year we launched like, I would say around 15 to 20 minute serialized content on YouTube, and it worked. Yeah, so like people are always looking for new kind of content. Yeah, so I think in the future, like, you know, it will still continue to work. Yeah.
So more and more videos, just the types of videos might constantly be changing.
Yeah, and the subject matter, I guess. Yeah.
I feel like it's about breaking patterns, because like after a while you get to see like cinematic stuff, and you just get tired of it, right? Then suddenly something like Blair Witch Project came up, and it's like, oh, so refreshing, you know. So I think it's always breaking the pattern, and if something is very saturated, just do something different, you know. And I think it will always come back in a cycle, I feel, and it's just like fashion, you know? So I think experimentation is very important, I feel, especially doing videos, and maybe it's not just video anymore, it's video and AI, and I'm very interested in, by the way, like I have a lot of footage that needs to be analyzed. So yeah, so I think just breaking the pattern, and then just knowing what to do differently if it's so saturated already.
Sure. So always be different.
Yeah.
Whatever everybody's doing, don't do that.
I don't know if you guys, we've been seeing the trends with the ASMR a lot. If you don't know what that is, it's basically tuning up all the sound effects in your video so that that's really taking over versus an audio track on top. And that's really been trending. We've done things like with Yahoo and such. You know, these are the types, it's a bit gimmicky, but it does capture the audience's attention, right? I mean, cinemagraphs is another thing. I stared at, we did something with Deliveroo, all the different foods, and I kept staring at this cheeseburger, and the cheese just kept dripping, and it's like, okay, I need to stop staring at that right now. But yeah, I think these are the little tactics that can be interesting to keep your customers engaged.
Sure. I'd love to know, how many people here watch ASMR videos? Handful?
Got a few.
How many people knew what ASMR is? Most people, yeah. Okay, I forget what it stands for, but yeah, basically sound, audio, sensory. Anyway, we have only a few minutes left. I'd love to take some questions. We're using the Slido app. Sure. What's more important, storyboarding or video technique? I think you guys do a lot of storyboarding at 90 seconds, so what's more important, the actual production values and the production, or the storyboarding beforehand?
That's a tough one. Good question. Oh, I don't know if I can choose one, honestly. I think both are equally important. You have to know what story you're trying to tell at the beginning, and that's why storyboarding is so important. But, you know, as Jayden was talking about, that videoing technique is what makes you stand apart from others.
I guess it's like what format or what deliverable you have to put it in the end. If it's like a 15-second teaser, nobody cares about the story in the teaser, right? So it's just like bam, all the cool video techniques. But if it's like a more shorter form, or like a longer form kind of video, maybe we have to care about the story a little bit more, and then the technique will help supplement the attention to it.
I'll go out on a limb and say I don't like storyboarding. I hate storyboarding. Ooh, I don't want to plan. I want to be able to be flexible to do whatever we want, especially because we're factual. So you can't really storyboard a documentary. You can have an idea, but we generally do factual stuff. So yeah, Kai-Yuan, how about
but it's
you?
still important, right? So like, yes, you're right. You can't storyboard, you know, a documentary, but I think you can plan for it. You need to know like what do you want to say at the end of the day, right? So for us, I think like that is definitely important. Yeah. So with script, I would say like, you know, before like we go into production, we do scripting, and like in that whole process, we already know like, you know, what do we want to tell in this whole video. Yeah.
Sure. Do you think brands are doing videos just for the sake of doing them? Do you agree that videos serve the lower parts of the marketing funnel? I can answer the second question. Not often. I think generally videos should be used for brand building, brand awareness, not conversions. But I think that sometimes they can if they're really explicitly created for that reason. Do brands do videos just to do them? Yeah, I think so. I think there's a lot of bad branded video out there that maybe that budget could be used elsewhere.
Like recently, working at GOODSTUPH, right? Like the review with the client is like, oh, they do a lot of videos that more brand love, you know, and then like this year they want to focus more on how this video can have a conversion. So it might not be a video, it might be something else. So, but you're right, the videos are usually more brand love than conversion.
Yeah. I think it's very hard to get conversions with video, and it's a very limiting, if that's your goal, it's going to really limit what you do. But it can be attempted. Yeah.
I think like it would be better to use like videos like for branding campaigns, like simply because of cost,
Yeah.
right? So like the amount of money it takes to do a video is so high,
Yeah.
right? As in, and does that make sense, to use it for a conversion campaign? Yeah. So
Exactly. It's a different objective, different type of marketing. Okay, well, we're done. Thanks very much, guys. I hope you enjoyed the panel.
thank you.
See you later.
Thank you very much.